The Meddlesome Meeples present the Quest Report with Matt and Richard.
A large game, isn't it? It takes up a bit of space, and you're basically going to be trying to win the game through one of two ways: by either developing your culture to the point where you get 5 ascendancy tokens, which is basically saying that your civilization is the greatest civilization, or you're going to go for a military win where you control both the other players' homeworlds while still controlling your own homeworld. Mm-hmm. In the first part of the game, and probably a good half of the game, if not more, all about exploration. Taking your ships and going out and exploring new planets and strange new worlds.
That bit was great.
One of the things I particularly like about all this is the fact that each of the different factions' bonuses, their advantages, their disadvantages, and even the technologies that they can acquire through research in the game, feels very thematic to the Star Trek universe and to those factions within the Star Trek universe.
It did feel very thematic, that did, yeah.
And that's one of the, and I love a game that holds its theme like that. And the expansions, we've only played the base game, so we'll talk about the expansions possibly on another quest report. But I've got the Cardassian one, and looking at that and looking at the Ferengi expansion, again, it sort of holds true to their cultures and their races.
I was going to read the title of these. The Cardassians have occupation and annexation.
There's a lot of things that I really like in this game.
Yeah.
I like the way the trade works. I like the exploration when you're actually going off space lanes and you're you're drawing a planet to see what's there, and then you're drawing an exploration card that tells you what you find on there. And some of those and all of those are based on things that happen in various Star Trek TV series. Yep. You might draw an exploration card and meet Q. For example, and you might fling your ship across the galaxy.
Yeah, that could happen.
That could happen. And fleet captains, as I say, you've got your ships, and you've got crews for each of your ships that you're putting together, and you're going out and you're doing missions. Whereas with this, it's on a grander scale. You're going out and you're building an empire, as opposed to going on missions and things like that.
Yeah.
And it does really feel like Star Trek.
It does, yeah. I was quite surprised by how much it did feel like Star Trek. And I'll tell you the thing that for me was the best, and that was the way you went to warp. And it's not like you can say, I'm going to warp, so I go across. Like, it's not like you go at import and you can go 2 spaces, but if you go at warp you can go 5 or something. It's actually, you go into warp, you take your little ships, which for me was these little Devedexes, off the board, and then to drop out of warp you put them on somewhere else, and it really did feel like they'd gone to warp and then dropped out of warp, and warp became a really cool weird thing that you were doing, and it felt so thematic.
I've played this a few times now, and I thoroughly enjoyed every game of this I played, and it felt like I was playing in the Star Trek universe. That kind of moving out, exploring new planets, it does that better than Twilight Imperium.
I think I definitely prefer the gameplay of TI, but I mean, this as a light version in the Star Trek universe is great.
There are optional rules that you can use to make the game faster, and we used some of those. So we used, the starting advancements, the random turn order, which meant we weren't bidding for initiative, which would, if you choose to bid for initiative, can be a major factor, because then you're spending your resources to try and get, much like in Game of Thrones, the board game, you're spending resources to try and get the initiative and to get a better turn order in your favour.
Risk 2210.
Yeah.
The other day,
but spending resources means that it's slowing the game down, because then you've not got those resources to do other things. And having that done randomly, and having the extra starting resources, which is an extra optional rule, all of that makes the game flow pretty fast. I mean, we played this inside of 3 hours. And without those optional rules, it would have, I think, added another hour to the play. With this, the map is quite flexible. So you start off and all you've got is your 3 planets. Your planet.
Yeah, so it does feel like you're exploring the unknown.
Yeah, because you're then putting space lanes down to connect one planet to another, and putting a new planet there. And until a planet has 2 space lanes connecting to it, you can move it around. A huge amount of fun. Really captured the theme. It's an absolute win-win for me.
This is this is a very enjoyable game to play. Yeah.
Farewell, Quester. To find out about other productions by the Meddlesome Meeples, then check out our channel or rendezvous with us at meddlesomemeeples.com. Until next time, Quester, farewell and keep thine axe sharp.